the International Buddhist Summit that was hosted and was organized in New Delhi. This was last week. We're taking now a look at the overarching message that was sent out through the summit, and joining us on the show is Rajiv Mehrotra. Many thanks, sir, for speaking with NDTV. First question, direct on the message of the summit.
The effort of the summit to re-articulate and reaffirm the value of Buddhism in today's times was very successfully achieved, and I think that was one of the intentions. There was also, of course, the geopolitical aspect, and that is that the Chinese have been moving very aggressively to usurp this. And I think their strategy also encompasses an effort to undermine Tibetan Buddhism per se, or at least to take ownership of it, independent of the Dalai Lama himself. So they have been very aggressive, and they have set up universities and research centers in a far larger context and initiative than we have in India. And so I think this was equally, though we may not be sort of happy admitting this, and India's initiative to be able to, at the very least, counter the Chinese efforts to do so, if that indeed is of some concern to us.
So was that geopolitical message sent out as well?
Well, of course. I mean, in Buddhist terms, the world will eternally be in a flux, and it is Buddhist values that, because it is a philosophy that and an approach that continuously embraces advances in human knowledge and human understanding. So it doesn't sort of, as I pointed out, there are millions of people around the world who describe themselves as friends of Buddhism without really formally being Buddhists. And I remember I was in Costa Rica a few years ago, and I was invited to speak at the Buddhist Center there. And more than 3/4 of those present were actually Catholics who felt that they had something to learn from Buddhism without being threatened or challenged by Buddhism. And I must really bring in the pivotal role of the Dalai Lama as the centerpiece of, in a sense, the summit, and of course the growth and the influence of Buddhism, because here is a preeminent Buddhist leader, who's able to, while being true to his faith, able to go to a mosque and perform the namaz, or go to a Christian church and sing a hymn, or go to a synagogue, and to embrace diversity, and really from a position that says that the aspiration of religion, philosophy, and the human enterprise really is to understand the true nature of reality.
My final question to you would be about the controversy over a recent viral video.
An excerpt that went out more than 5-6 weeks later suddenly went viral. And it's also interesting that, how and why did it go viral? I mean, there has been, sort of a lot of documentation and news reports about Russian intervention in the American elections that we are familiar with, of Chinese efforts to manipulate media, and sadly we never expected that this would impact mainstream media in India as much as it did social media, and the greatest beneficiary, of course, of this is China, and we can expect a sustained strategy to undermine the Dalai Lama as he ages, and the issue of succession takes center stage. And so, apart from the cultural aspect, the fact that it was done in full public view. And what was really appalling was that there were some sort of television programs that even went as far as suggesting that the Dalai Lama should be investigated by the police to verify his intent, that the intent was not of child abuse. I mean, I think this is, a far greater commentary on who we are and who we are becoming than any impact it might have had on the Dalai Lama's credibility and reputation.